Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel Many Advantage. Today's topic is CCNP switch lab number 2 and we are going to focus on span tree protocol, mainly PVST, RSTP and MST. So I'm going to mainly focus on PVST and MST because RSTP is a small variation of PVST. For the lab, we are going to use the same diagram as like last time. Basically, I'm going to have switch 1, switch 2. So even though I'm saying 23 and 23 and 24 and 24 as a trunk port, in my lab today, I'm going to use 21, 21, 22, 22. So that means my lower number port will be 21, higher number port is 22. But for this particular description, you'll be seeing 23 and 24. So always remember higher number and lower number. And I'm going to again say my switch number 1 as a VTP server, switch number 2 as a VTP client. And first 5 conditions are, again, I'm saying here on your pod you can use any interfaces connecting, but I'm not going to use port channel. It's going to be a regular trunk port. So I'm telling, so look at the first five conditions of us almost same. Define host name for switch 1 and switch 2. Then I'm saying VTP domain name is many advantage and VTP password is many ADV. I'm asking you to create 5 VLANs. So I think we did the same exercise in the lab number 1. You can watch from YouTube. And again, guys, if you like the YouTube channel, please subscribe and also tell your friends to subscribe. So I'm going to hardcode the trunk between switch 1 and switch 2 as IEEE trunking and allowed only the 5 VLANs to go through the trunk link. So these are all up to 5 is normal. We did last time. So I'm going to do again one more time quickly. So to do this one, I'm going to use a notepad document for you to understand quickly what I'm going to do. So on switch 1 and switch 2, we are going to issue a couple of commands. One is VTP mode command. So I'm going to say VTP mode server on switch 1. So let's put the command for switch 1 from the configuration mode VTP mode server. Then VTP domain many advantage. Then VTP password many ADV. Then we have to create VLAN on the same box. So I'm going to say VLAN 10, name VL, capital VL 10. Then we can type exit. So don't do this one, guys. When you do the lab, do on a real devices. But because I want to repeat this one, I'm going to do faster here. You know, if it is a real environment, you can use the notepad. If it is CCI exam, you can use the notepad heavily, but try to practice typing alone. So I'm typing because of the experience. So VLAN 30, name is VL 30. Then VLAN 40, name VL 40. Then exit. VLAN 50, name VL 50. So I'm asking you to create 5 VLANs on VTP server switch. Let's put exit to be consistent. So then on switch number 2, I'm going to make that one as only VTP client. You have to know in a VTP client you cannot create any VLANs. And before even I'm doing this one on both switch 1 and switch 2, so I'll go to switch 1 and switch 2. What I will do, interface range FA, as I said, my lower ranges ports are 21 and 22. Then I'll say switch port trunk encapsulation .1q, then switch port mode trunk. So basically what you have to do, guys, you have to enable the trunk encapsulation for 802.1q. I'm asking, then I'm going to say mode trunk, and also finally I'm asking you to say switch port trunk allowed VLAN. I'm asking you to send only 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I'm doing as per the questions. If you read the question, it says only allow the VLAN defined. So first let's do this one for both switch 1 and switch 2. And guys, again, for your own practice, write down something like this. And if I want to make some further, so if I want to start the switch from scratch, what I will do is, initially what I will do, I'll say VTP mode transparent. Then I'll type no VLAN 224096. 4094. So this way what I'm doing, I'm kind of deleting all the VLANs. So let's do this one. So by doing this one, what I'm doing, I'm making the switch as a fresh switch for me to do it. So if I go to switches now, so switch 1 and this is my switch 2. If I type enable, show CDP neighbor, it tells me. So I'm going to check the show CDP neighbor on the, so I'm going to go to P2. This is the correct switch, guys. Show CDP neighbor. Okay, I have switch 2 as a neighbor, so I have to log on to a different switch. Okay, so right now I'm on P1 switch 1 and P1 switch 2. Let's enable the banner here. Okay guys, so I'm on P1 switch 2 as well as I'm on P1 switch 1. If I type show CDP neighbor, it's telling me 21, 22 are the neighbors. So I have the names. So as I said before, let's clean the configuration as a brand new switches. So what I will do, I will add these two commands to make sure to delete whatever the configuration I had before. So I'll go to config T and say VTP mode and no VLAN. Same thing here, enable config T, VTP mode transparent, and removing any configured VLAN. So basically it's done. So as I said, now I want to do switch 2 and switch 1. I'm going to configure the trunk, copy the command for trunk, or maybe you can type individually. That's it. When I come to switch 2, that's it. So right now the trunk should be up. We have to check if the trunk is up. Show interfaces trunk. Yeah, it says mode is on. So that's the expected behavior. So I'm not even allowing VLAN 1. I'm allowing only the created VLAN. So here also same thing. If I type show interfaces trunk, I'm allowing only the created VLAN. So let's go and do the other configurations which I have in the notepad document. Okay, on switch 1, I'm going to say it's a VTP server, then VTP password, then I'm going to create the VLAN. So let's from here copy all the way to here. This is going to go on switch 1. Config T. Let's add the commands. So just see guys, everything is going very nicely. And let's check the show VTP status after we do the configuration. Then on switch 2, I had to make it as a client and define the domain name and password. So remember, password is optional. You don't have to define password, but in a server client environment, the MD5 digest has to match. So let's go and put the commands here too, guys. So very important thing for me right now, if I type show VTP status, show VTP status, I'm going to look at the MD5 digest 0 DA. I want to make sure the switch also has the same thing. Show VTP status. Yeah, so 078 0 DA. This one also 078 0 DA. That mean my VTP is synchronized. So on a client switch, if I type show VTP status, I should see the show VLAN. I should see the VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So right now we have done whatever we did last week, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So guys, if you are in my class, you have the class document. If you are watching online, if you're not a student, please do the print screen of this screen so you can study later. So now we are going to go step by step. Configure PVST plus and make sure switch 1 is root for all the 5 defined VLAN. try both the methods. Okay, that's a good thing. So let's try. There are two methods, and guys, by default the switches is in PVST mode, otherwise somebody has configured. But for the safe side, what we are going to do, we are going to go to the switches. I'm going to go to config T and type spanning tree mode PVST. So by default that's a mode, but even if somebody configured, you want to just change it, spanning tree mode PVST. So right now we don't know which switch is a blocks root switch. So what we can do on switch number 2, I can type show spanning tree VLAN 10. Just say one. Okay, so basically switch 1 is the root because it says blocking, then listening. Now it's learning. It should go back to now forwarding state very soon. So I'm looking for VLAN 10. Basically, even if I look at VLAN 20, the design should not change. Okay, so root learning is taking some time to synchronize. Okay, so it's good right now. So 21 is the root port. Always the lower number port is a root port, other port is a block port. If you look at the spanning tree, so I'm looking for VLAN 10. So 32,000, I'm looking for VLAN 20 right now. 32,768 is default, then plus 20 is added. So 32,768 plus 20. So what I want to do now, I go to switch 1. They're asking me to hard code, so I'll use the first command, spanning tree VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, priority 0. Let's see what's going to happen. When I type priority 0, here we are going to see priority become now just 20. Let's see that one. Okay, bridge ID, yeah, root bridge priority is 20. That's method 1. So that's the root, so bridge 20. So now I'm going to remove the command. There's a second method. So I'll type Control A to remove this command. So that command is gone. So if I go back, come here, it should show me 32,788. Let's check. So it takes some time, guys. Even if I remove, it's still showing me 20 because there must be VTP advertisement. Okay, it didn't change. It'll change soon. Yeah, it changed now here. So it just is back to 32,788. Few seconds ago it was 20. So now we are going to use the second method. Again, you can use any one of the method in the exam. Spanning tree VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. There's a command called root. The options are primary and secondary. I want to make it as a root primary. So what's this going to happen? Root primary reduce the priority by I think 8,000 something. Let's check. So now it'll be 32 less than 32,768. So basically I'm on switch 2, guys. The bridge ID is nothing but this switch bridge ID. That is a root bridge ID. Just see it is reduced by 8,000. So when you make spanning tree root primary, priority will be reduced by 8,100 something, and if you make root secondary, the priority will be reduced by 4,000. So that's a mathematical calculation. So we have done that particular part. So both methods. Okay, now on switch 2, check which port is a block port. For us right now, FA022 is a block port. Okay, so let's check that one. Here FA022 is block port. So that means I am not on. So when I see in the show spanning tree these commands, so that means I'm on a non-root switch. On a root switch, the ports are always designated forwarding state. So what I mean, if I type show spanning tree VLAN 20, it says designated forwarding, and also it tells you all the BPDU timers: hello timer, max age timer, forward delay timer. So that means 2 seconds, 20 seconds, and 15 seconds by default. Let's see the next condition. Next condition says configure switch 2 only, and to change the behavior so that switch number 22 become a root port. So what we had to do, we had to play with cost, because cost is a local decision making. So let's go and see what they are asking. They're asking to make this guy as a root port, this guy as a block port. The only way to do is I'm going to change the cost locally. So let's play with always high numbered port. I'm going to go to this port and maybe change the cost to 15. I have to make anything less than 19. So go back to the question. Is it saying for specific VLAN? No, it's saying for all the VLAN. So let's do that one. We have 5 VLANs. Let's go to the switch to 2. So remember guys, the important commands are priority, port priority and cost. So what I will do here, interface FA022. Then I'll go to spanning tree VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Cost 15, anything less than 15. The idea is I want to make this guy as a root port, other guy as a blocking port. Let's check before we remove the command. Show spanning tree VLAN 10. It will take some time. Yeah, just see, as soon as I type, the 22 became a root port, other one became alternate block port. So right now 21 is block. If I go up, 21 was forwarding. So that means I change this one by playing the cost command. So I want to remove this command to bring back to normal. So config T interface FA022. If I do up arrow a couple of times, I'm going to bring back that command, Control A and no. Guys, hopefully you guys are enjoying this particular lecture. It's a hands-on lecture, and if you like, again, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Many Advantage. You can search in Google or YouTube, and I'll be planning to provide more and more videos to get the knowledge out. So networking is very important, guys. So let's go back to the question now. So I did change the behavior. Okay, I did this step. So it's asking me to reverse the step number 6. That's done too. Now I have to configure switch 1. So that means what I'm going to do, I'm going to play with port priority. I'm going to push a port priority to switch to make decisions. So number 10, I had to configure switch 1 so that switch 2 changes the decision. Number 8, we did that one. Now we have to make switch 2 to configure local decision. So what I will do, I'll go back here and see if everything is back to normal since I removed. Show spanning tree VLAN 10. I want now 22 to block port. That's okay, did not remove. I want to make 22. So let's say show run interface FA022. Yeah, it got blocked. Okay, show run interface FA021. Okay, show spanning tree VLAN 10. Cost is 19. Let's check if I did any configuration here. Okay, so there was a earlier command given. I'm going to remove that command right now. Interface FA022. So this is coming from my earlier lab class, so that's why. So I'm going to remove and make it normal. So because cost comes first, that's why you don't see the issue. So let's see show run interface FA021. I want to make sure everything is normal. That's normal. Let's go back here and check the spanning tree. Okay, I think now it's working, guys. Okay, show spanning tree VLAN 10. So if everything is good, the lower number must be root port. Okay, so other port became a block port. Now it's on spanning tree listening, so it has to take a couple of seconds. From listening it went to learning, so again 15 seconds. Okay, root forwarding. So now guys, we are going to configure switch number 1, that's a root port, and going to change the behavior. So by default priority is 128. We can increment. So I'm going to decrease the priority of this port on switch number 1 from 128 to the lower number. So let's go to switch 1. Config T. Again, I'm going to play with the higher number interface, so you can do the same thing. Spanning tree VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40. comma 50. The command is port priority. This one says increment of 16. So now default is 128. So I can put 64, 92, whatever I wanted. So I'll show you the command, guys. Show run interface FA0 21 22. So that we know this command will not have no bearing on this switch, only on the downstream switches, because port priority. Let's go to this switch. Show spanning tree VLAN 10. Just see, guys, the 21 became block port and higher number port going to become as a root port. Yeah, root forwarding. So right now, how do we check that we changed to 64, but we are not seeing that 64. The only command to see that 64 is show spanning tree VLAN 10 detail. Look for FA022, port number 22. Just see, for VLAN 10, the priority is 64. In a normal situation, priority is 128. So you cannot see with a show spanning tree command. So guys, we learned three things. One is how to change the root playing with priority command, either priority command or root primary secondary. Then we played with both cost command and port priority command on a block port, how to change root port and block port with just swing with each other. So let's go and remove the command to make everything normal. So I'll go to switch 1 and config T. I type Control A and type no command to remove. As soon as I type no command, what need to happen? 21 become I want 21 to be root port one more time. I want 21 to be root port. Maybe the command is not taken properly. Let's wait and see. Okay, it's changing now. It will take some time. Here 22 became block port right away right now, and this will go to root port. I'll go up and show you. Initially 21 was block port. Now 21 will become a root port very soon. It will be root forwarding. Root learning, so listening, learning, forwarding. Yeah, so that's the normal mode. So that means by default, whenever you don't touch, from the other side, the lower number interface become root port and higher number interface become. So guys, even though it might look like boring, take your time, watch the videos couple of times until this concept is there. So right now we configured step number 10, and then I'm telling to remove all the spanning tree configurations. So here I want to show you something right now, guys. I'm not talking about, so let's keep the command as it is. I want to show you what type of spanning tree. If they ask you what type of spanning tree you are running right now, show spanning tree summary. This is a very handy command. So when you type show spanning tree summary, it says switch is in the PVST mode. If I type here same command, show spanning tree summary, it will tell you the switch is running in PVST mode. So if I want to configure rapid PVST, that is, so PVST is 802.1D. So if I want to configure rapid PVST, the command is spanning tree mode. If I put a question mark, there are only 3 modes. I'm going to say rapid PVST. Let's type the same command here too. So that's the only command, spanning tree mode rapid PVST. Show spanning tree summary. You are doing now rapid PVST mode, so it tells you what mode you are running. And also if I type show spanning tree VLAN 10, it tells you the spanning tree mode is RSTP. Just look at the cost and no change at all. So there is no much change between spanning tree rapid and per VLAN spanning tree. Both PVST and RSTP, they are per VLAN spanning tree, but this is a rapid. That means within 3 hello packets. So that means within 6 seconds it understands there is a convergence. So there is a topology issues and it's automatically adjusts the topology issues. So spanning tree protocol is brought to stop the layer 2 looping. So that means there should not be no redundant path in the layer 2 network. So guys, let's continue. So that's easy, that's why I didn't do much command. Then now we are going to configure MST between switch 1 and switch 2. So MST is multiple spanning tree 802.1s. I'm telling some more thing configure. So let's configure this one on a notepad document just to make everybody understand easily. Okay. The only drawback of switch, so MST stand for multiple spanning tree protocol. So let's see what they are asking and let's configure. So there's a command called spanning tree MST spanning tree MST configuration. Then I'm going to put a name mani adv MST. Then it's going to ask me for revision. It's best to put a revision. I can starting with a 1. Then the question says VLAN 20. So I had to create, okay, look at this one. 10 and 20 in instance 1, 30, 40, 50 in instance 2, or the VLAN in instance 3. So what I will do, I'll put instance 3. I'll say VLAN 1 to 4094. Basically, I'm taking everything to instance 3. So let's type properly so you will understand the command structure. Then I will create instance 1 and instance 2. So instance 1. So it's more commands needed for MST configuration. So instance 2 is VLAN number 10 and 20. 10, 20. Then instance 1. I think this is instance 1. So I'm saying instance 1, 30, 40, 50 in instance 2. So instance 2 is VLAN 30, 40, 50. So after you type, there's a command called show pending. Let's go slowly, guys. Show pending will show you what command you are going to type. So let's do this one first. Then finally, I'm going to type a command called spanning tree mode MST. So normally you have to understand when you configure PVST and RSTP, there is only one command, but in MST, this command has to be same on all the switches. So right now I have 2 switches in the region. So region is nothing but switch 1 and switch 2. Those are the 2 switches going to be participating in MST. So both switch 1 and switch 2 are in a region. They are going to have the same command. So let's configure this one, guys. So I'll go to both switch 1 and switch 2. So here I'm on config mode. So just see very nicely, all the commands are good. Show pending, it tells me what commands are going to get applied. I'll do the same thing here. Config T, show pending. If I'm happy, I'll type exit. Just see instance 0, there is nothing right now. So that means commands are not, whatever command I typed are applied, but still I'm running RSTP mode. If I type do show spanning tree summary, I didn't change the rapid PVST mode yet. So if I want to change the mode, I have to put another command. The command is spanning tree mode MST. So it's always best to configure, then enable the mode. That way the disruption to the network is minor. And again, you don't do this one during daytime. You have to do it during the maintenance window. Okay guys, so right now I'm running MST. Multiple spanning tree protocol. So the way to know is show spanning tree summary. Show spanning tree summary, it tells I'm running MST mode. Show spanning tree summary. If I type show spanning tree MST1, basically what I'm doing now is it is same as show spanning tree VLAN 10, but I want to now check for whatever in VLAN MST1. MST1 belong to both VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. So again, it says, just see the difference is priority is same, but the cost it is incremented around 1000 folds. So before it's 19, now it's 20,000. So one is a route forwarding, other one is an alternate block port. So let's go to the questions. So we did this one, guys, configure MST between switch 1 and switch 2. I did that one now. Let's go down further. Okay, so I'm saying, yeah, so basically that's the command to see, even though I'm not asking here. I want to show you how to configure. Look at this one. There should not be no VLAN in instance 0, and make sure switch 1 is VTP route for instance 2. Let's do this one. Okay, so let's go back here. If I type show spanning tree MST configuration, there is nothing in 0. That's the question asked. Okay, that's the reason we configure everything for MST3. So let's check this one, show spanning tree MST configuration. It's a very powerful command, guys. And also I'll do config t spanning tree MST1 priority 0. Before it was spanning tree VLAN. So if I type this one, priority is 0 now. How do we verify? Let's come to switch 2. Show spanning tree MST1. Just see root priority became 1. If I type MST10, MST1 it says it belongs to both VLAN 10 and 20. But if I do MST2, show spanning tree, here I didn't change anything. Here it will be 32,770, I think, because it's 2. Let's say it's add 2. Let's check. Okay, we didn't play with the root. So for root brick, this switch is the root switch for MST2. We made switch 1 as only MST1 priority. So switch 1 is the root for, if I go to this one, MST2, both the ports are designated ports. If I go to switch 1 here, if I type show spanning tree MST1, you might find both the switches are DP. So look for the trunk port. If I look for MST2, this port is a block port. Just see, so you can make one switch priority over the other one. So let's do the last two conditions, guys. The last condition is hypothetical questions. Configure one command so that all access port is moved to forwarding state immediately. So I'm asking for spanning tree port fast default. Then I'm saying configure one command so that any port fast port, if they receive BPD, they should go to shutdown state. So I'm again asking root guard. So root guard put the port to air disable state. So let's try the command, guys. So here I'm going to go to config mode and say spanning tree port fast default, and also spanning tree port fast BPDU guard default. So basically these two commands, what it do. So I'm going to type the same command on the other switch also. Let's try on switch 2, config T. So you have to remember for the exam, doesn't matter whether you're doing CCNP exam or CCI exam, these commands are very important. So this command, make all the access port as port fast enable port, and this command enable BPDU guard feature for those ports. Guys, I hope this particular lecture is very informative for you. So again, quickly, if you are my students or if you want to reach me out, I can send this document by email. You have my email, theManyAdvantage@yahoo.ca. I live in Toronto, Canada. So what I did, I'll go slowly. If you want anybody want to take a snapshot. So take the snapshot of the diagram if you're not in my class. The question wise. So this is question number 1 to 7. Take a snapshot slowly. 7 to 12, then 13 to 14. These are the questions. So guys, again, you can watch the video at the same time I'm doing the lab for you guys to understand. So I didn't go through this lab document. So I want to show you all the commands I typed. So it won't be 100% one-on-one, but I try to keep the same. So use all the show commands for your own knowledge. So these are the trunk commands. So I'm showing you both the method of making spanning tree mode PVST and both the methods to make a switch as a root switch. Then how to see the local affecting by using cost. Then other switch, play with port priority. to make, so default port priority is 128. For MST is very important, guys. So just see what I'm doing. I did the exactly same thing what I did in the video. Switch 1, switch 2. I went to configuration mode, put instance 3, then 1, 2, then finally change the mode, and also priority to 0 for MST2. So remember MST2 here, it related to VLAN 30, 40, 50. Then finally the special commands, span entry port fast default and span entry port fast BPDU guard default. Again, guys, I'm your Juniper Master Expert Instructor, CISCO-JUNIPER Master Expert Instructor. Again, good luck in your CCNP switch lab. So this is the second lab. I'll be keep on adding some more labs to CCNP switching. And thanks for watching my video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this lab, and talk to you guys soon.